What happened with the actor strike? Did they settle that? Is that over?
Yeah, they settled it.
Rumors are swirling around now that Disney is canceling the Snow White remake, or they're hiring a new actress to replace Rachel Zegler after backlash against the comments that she made about.
This cartoon came out 85 years ago, and so to be able to 85 years later be the first Disney live action version of that is so incredible.
I remain calm. It's happening. Like we've been begging for months since she started doing interviews about Snow White. Disney officially.
Rachel Zegler has been fired from Paddington 3. Now, the actress-singer has been in a lot of Hollywood projects since her debut film in West Side Story in 2021. She's in Shazam! Fury of the Gods. She landed an upcoming role in the Snow White movie and the
It's annoying. Yeah, it's annoying. If someone's asking you questions and you're getting really fucking annoyed, it's probably not the question.
Rogan has formally joined the Snow White drama, and his opinion is as direct as one could anticipate. With Rachel Zegler at its core, the live-action Disney remake is already mired in controversy. She has criticized the original film, argued with fans, and sparked an unending online backlash. However, by criticizing the actress and Disney's haphazard choices, Rogan is now stoking the flames. He said what? Why, in this convoluted tale, is his viewpoint drawing even more attention? It simply got more bizarre. So let's dissect everything. Rachel Zegler's past political commentary and public remarks have fueled the flames even more. Zegler has been at the center of discussions that go well beyond the realm of fairy tales, from contentious social media posts to controversial public appearances. Joe Rogan, of course, has some thoughts on the matter. Trump fans were urged to never experience peace in a furious narrative that Zegler posted on Instagram during the 2020 election. Others viewed the remark as hostile and polarizing, especially considering her expanding public profile, while others applauded her zeal. After she was cast as Snow White, the outcry only grew stronger, with critics quickly labeling her comments as insane. Never one to back down from a political discussion, Joe Rogan mentioned Zegler's essay on a recent edition of the Joe Rogan Experience. Come on, I mean, telling them that serenity is unattainable while you're a Disney princess? How are you? Oh, responded Rogan, clearly puzzled. It's like telling half of your audience they're garbage after being cast as Cinderella. What good does that do anyone? Zegler's remark was not precisely the type of thing Disney would want its stars posting, according to Rogan's audience, which includes people from a wide range of political backgrounds. You know how Disney has this entire thing about being family-friendly? On the other hand, Snow White quite much tells people to go to hell. Just poor optics. Zegler's inclination to express her opinions has extended beyond the realm of politics. She read Britney Spears' tweets in a dramatic fashion at the height of the #Free Britney campaign. Her over-the-top delivery raised doubts about her genuineness, even though it was meant as a display of camaraderie. Is there an unspoken law that requires actors to act like Shakespeare in every scene? Rogan didn't pass up the opportunity to comment on this, laughing, because that Britney reading sounded like it was taken from a soap opera.
I said on the show, I don't know what's happening, but somebody need to fix something. Because this ain't cool.
People were upset.
People were upset, and I was not expecting it. So, I mean, it's very wonderful to be here. I'm really thankful to the Academy for asking me to present, and everyone at Snow White who was able to just let me get on a plane. Yeah.
So we saw the Queen, Rita was here, we saw Ariana, you know, the movie is up, Steven is up. What would it mean to you to have this moment for this film?
I mean, it just means that our stories are worth telling, and I think just the success review-wise of our film shows that our stories are worth telling, but recognition from something like this is something that is so huge, and a lot of people pay attention to, regardless of whether or not you say, like, oh, awards, do they really matter? Like, you know, at the end of the day, this is a story of representation, and it matters.
Real quick, I do want to say, so what did they do? Like, did they just call you after people saw it, or what happened?
I'll be honest, I don't know, and I don't want to know. I kind of just let it all, the chips fell where they did, because I was really overwhelmed with the response to it, because it was a comment I made on my own Instagram post, so you don't really expect that to make the news the next day, and it was just a statement of fact, but we're here, we're happy, we're really...
Another contentious occasion occurred when Zegler openly lamented that, despite West Side Story's nomination, he was not invited to the 2022 Oscars. From my couch in sweatpants, I'll be cheering for West Side Story, she wrote on Instagram. Disney eventually rushed to send her a last-minute invitation, but the damage was already done. The internet had a field day as critics viewed her remarks as entitled. This was brought up by Rogan in his typical direct manner. She could have probably kept that private, let's face it. However, it turned into this entire controversy about how she wasn't invited, and then all of a sudden she's walking the red carpet. You know, so do you really care about the Oscars, or is it simply that you were left out? On his podcast, Rogan has been analyzing Disney's recent choices and the consequences of Zegler's actions, and the Snow White debate has become a heated topic. In a recent episode, Rogan didn't mince words. One fan wrote on social media that Rogan's directness is what makes his viewpoint resonate. What we're all saying is, Zegler and Disney's disputes have been a constant source of trouble. The last thing the corporation needs is a main actress involved in social and political upheaval, as they have spent decades meticulously constructing their benign image. While Zegler's supporters say it's good to have a young celebrity voice her opinions, critics say her outspokenness is a disadvantage. However, Joe Rogan's exposure of these errors to millions of listeners has expanded the topic beyond Disney enthusiasts. Disney has to be sitting there like, what did we agree to? Rogan joked. It's akin to designating a dragon as Sleeping Beauty's protagonist. Cool concept, until it begins destroying everything. Regardless of whether you view Zegler as a fearless voice that isn't scared to question the current quo, or as someone who has made too many mistakes, one thing is certain: her public blunders and political remarks have turned her into a divisive figure. In the Disney industry, where the company's success depends on its ability to appeal to all people, that is an issue that no magic mirror can solve.
What the hell? Why does it have like scary movie trailer sound?
This feels like
What?
when they're making the horror like Winnie the Pooh movie.
So whistle while you work.
It's a horror movie. It's a horror movie. Wait, is that Gal Gadot?
The fairest.
Oh my God, Bambi!
Bambi crossover?
Bambi!
Wait, no,
What?
It's the Disney live action extended universe. Snow
Yes.
White, Bambi, Lion King.
You know, it's really a bad sign when your own people are telling you, hey, your new product sucks. There's a Snow White trailer that's playing before certain movies in theaters right now. There's also a rip of it up on YouTube if you want to go look. I don't think they've officially released the trailer on YouTube or anything. Jim Shull, who was an Imagineer for Disney for I think 33 years, said that they should consider streaming the movie directly, and that it is unwatchable. Which I don't know why you'd bother streaming it if it's unwatchable, but whatever. None of the uploads of the trailer are in great quality, and literally every time I try to screenshot the dwarves, it comes out like pudding. Believe me when I tell you that the dwarves are like uncanny valley levels of creepy. I don't know why they thought they had to make them CGI. It probably won't be the worst movie ever made, but it also could just not exist and it would be fine.
It's just been the honor of a lifetime. I think any young person, any little girl, you get to put on a Disney princess dress and be her for a day, let alone 6 months of shooting in London on these incredible sets in a Sandy Powell designed dress. It's just been the most amazing experience, and I can't wait to share it with you all. Oh, it's amazing. I'd say your wish is about to come true. Well, we, along with our amazing director, Mark Webb, our entire cast and crew, we've worked so incredibly hard to bring this iconic story to life, and we are so excited to give you a sneak peek at the film. And as you know, there will be so many new songs that are amazing by Oscar Award winners Pasek and Paul. But here for D23, we're going to show you a classic. Let's take a look.
It wasn't like this Snow White drama appeared overnight. For months, it has been a train wreck. As we go back to August 2024, Disney released the teaser for their live-action Snow White remake on YouTube. Now you would think that would have been a moment of magic. Not true. The caravan caused indignation rather than excitement. In a few of weeks, it amassed around 1 million dislikes, making it the most hated movie trailer in YouTube history. You heard correctly? Yes. Millions. Remember that YouTube no longer displays the dislike counter. Therefore, in order to see how horrible it was, users had to install browser extensions on their own. What dedication to roasting this film. The numbers are crazy. The disapproval rating for The Caravan was an astounding 96.3%. In comparison, it is worse than the majority of the top 40 most despised videos ever made on YouTube. This was even more of a crash than the notorious Sonic 2 teaser, which many referred to as a cinematic disaster. On his YouTube channel, Hollywood scooper WDW Pro provided a scathing analysis. Roadkill and Snow White, he said. Something so awful that you can't help but slow down and observe it, you know? This film is currently at that point. So what went wrong? First, let's discuss the casting. The announcement of Rachel Zegler as the new Snow White sparked cautious optimism. That optimism vanished as quickly as a poisoned apple bite as Zegler began speaking. Yet she is gifted after all. During interviews, she publicly criticized the 1937 animated classic, claiming that the prince was a creepy stalker and that it was very outdated. Snow White was no longer dreaming about love, she even claimed. She had a dream in which she was in charge. Well, certainly things change. But getting rid of a classic that people grew up loving? For many supporters, that was where the line was crossed. But hold on, things will get better. Disney didn't end there with a divisive casting decision. They chose to substitute a collection of various supernatural beings for the well-known Seven Dwarfs. The internet didn't like it. The studio came under fire from actors with dwarfism who said that their exclusion was anything from progressive. What about the CGI animals they substituted? Let's just say that they appeared more dead than a Snow White who had been poisoned. Fans were left perplexed as to how a live-action reenactment could seem less genuine than a 1937 cartoon. The comments, too. They were violent. One person commented, "I came here just to join the Million Dislikes Club. Disney paid $29 million, according to another joke, only to make me chuckle at how awful this is." Not only was it disappointing, but it was outright mockery. In addition to criticizing the clip, some were making fun of Disney and accusing the studio of becoming disconnected from its fan base.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm so good.
Rant.
Yes!
Yay!
I feel like between West Side Story, Hunger Games, Shazam, Snow White, are you resting?
No. No, I went right off of this, right off Snow White, right to Poland to film Hunger Games. It was literally like wrap on Wednesday, start shooting Hunger Games on Thursday. I haven't slept in a very long time, but yeah. You know.
Have you had the moment to even soak in, like, Snow White is happening?
Well, that was the thing. I think that's why I cried today on stage, is because it was like, oh, I didn't get to grieve the project, first of all. When you wrap something, like, there's a grieving process that I did not have. And then I went right on to the next thing. But every day on Snow White was a pinch me moment. I was surrounded by the best crew and the best people ever. And even just getting to see our director, Mark, today was just like, oh, right, we made a movie and it's really wonderful. And it's yummy and it feels really delicious in my heart.
And you look fantastic. And obviously there's, you know, the set photos, but then there's like the final product.
Yeah.
How did you react when you saw that?
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, okay.
We were backstage and we weren't allowed to watch.
Guys, it is chaos here, I'm telling you.
Yeah, I could not. I wasn't. We haven't seen it. I have no idea what everybody.
You look great.
Thank you so much. Everybody was screaming, and I was like, "Oh, it must be good." Yeah.
That's a good response.
The logo looks great. Can't wait to see the logo. Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Fans are growing more concerned about Disney's new Snow White remake, mostly because of what the lead actress has been saying to the press. Rachel Zegler has been described as a walking PR disaster for Disney's. We've heard her bag the classic story before, but there's more. There's always more. Let's have a listen.
I mean, you know, the wonderful, and whether or not she finds love along the way is anybody's guess until 2024. All of Andrew's scenes could get cut. Who knows? It's Hollywood, baby.
This is starting to sound nothing like Snow White. They've just got a character named Snow White, but the story seems to be entirely different. Joining me now to discuss Disney seemingly destroying another classic is Turning Point USA contributor Erin Elmore. Erin, we've heard these comments from the actress playing Snow White, who seems to have contempt for the original story and character.
In another interview, she revealed that the original Snow White scared her so much as a child that she avoided it for more than 10 years. She even claimed that the new version would redefine the fairest of them all to focus on justice rather than beauty. Some fans referred to this as a modern twist, but for the majority, it felt like she was stomping all over a beloved classic, and her tone came across as dismissive and condescending, as if she didn't even like the story she was meant to represent. The backlash wasn't limited to the internet. Users on TikTok were comparing Zegler's remarks to Halle Bailey's polite demeanor in The Little Mermaid, and one comment went viral summarizing the situation well. Even Disney's attempts to repair the damage backfired when they sent Zegler on a press tour. But her backtracking came off as insincere, and when leaked images of the new Seven Dwarfs surfaced online, it only fueled the flames. People were openly supporting the evil queen over Snow White, and things got so bad that Disney removed a second teaser trailer after it began receiving more dislikes. This leads us to today, where Joe Rogan couldn't help but jump into the chaos with his take. Let's just say it's as brutally honest as you'd expect. But before we get into Rogan's vehement response, let's take a closer look at why Rachel Zegler's remarks and Disney's decisions have made this movie a lightning rod for controversy. Former Disney Imagineers have even suggested skipping theaters entirely and dumping the film straight onto Disney Plus just to avoid further embarrassment. Rachel Zegler has been at the center of this Snow White storm, and it's easy to understand why she's been outspoken about her feelings about the 1937 original. Let's just say they're not warm and fuzzy. Although she may have been chosen to play a Disney princess, her comments about the beloved tale made her seem more like a villain in the eyes of fans.
When you leave the scene, I turned to the camera and I was like, gal's mad. It was so, but then you were FaceTiming your kids right after being like, hi, you're so much.
You want to start?
I mean, yeah, sure. I had no idea what I was auditioning for when I auditioned. So it's a kind of a hilarious question to say, what drew you to the material? Is that I didn't realize that I was reading lines with Dopey. It said Jeff and Amy were reading lines. And then our director, Mark Webb, on Zoom was and then Dopey's gonna look at you and whistle. And I took a pause and realized what I was auditioning for, and then it became I will elbow everyone out of the way to play the part. But it was very sweet, and it was a very short audition process for me. I did one more screen test, and then it was just so exciting from the word go. And Mark is so excited about the material because he has a young daughter, and he really wanted to make a movie for her and for his younger son, and I feel like he did just that, and that was really special to be a part of. I was scared of the original cartoon. I think I watched it once, and then I never picked it up again. I'm being so serious. I watched it once, and then I went on the ride in Disney World, which was called Snow White's Scary Adventures. Doesn't sound like something a little kid would like. Was terrified of it. Never revisited Snow White again. So I watched it for the first time in probably 16, 17 years when I was doing this film.
I mean, this girl is a whole, she can dance, she can sing for real, she can act, she can do it all.
We always joked that it was a Sandy Powell film directed by Mark Webb because it's particularly when it comes to gals' costumes. I was in that workshop just watching them be built all the time, and it's just the most incredible.
During interviews, Zegler revealed her opinions about the original Snow White, calling it incredibly dated and criticizing the romance, saying the prince came off as a stalker. For fans who grew up loving the timeless love story, these comments were like a poisoned apple. It wasn't just about the movie's age. It was about Zegler dismissing the nostalgia and emotional attachment that so many people have to it. This wasn't a casual remark either. Zegler insisted that the new Snow White would be different and more focused on independence and leadership, which could have been an exciting modern twist. However, the way she phrased it came across as patronizing, as if fans were wrong for initially enjoying the original. The most recent, instead of dreaming of her prince, Snow White now dreams of becoming a leader and the fairest of all of them, forgetting beauty. On paper, this may sound empowering, but for many fans, it felt like Disney was removing what made Snow White special. The character they adored had gentle and kind traits that didn't need to be changed to make her strong. Zegler's rendition came across as brazen and unrecognizable, and the criticism wasn't limited to the changes. It also focused on the tone, with fans feeling reprimanded for enjoying the classic. The interviews with Snow White and Zegler didn't help. It didn't feel like she was embracing the story. Rather, it felt like she was tearing it apart. The real explosion occurred on social media platforms like TikTok and Twitter, which turned into battlegrounds for fans and critics after she revealed that the original movie scared her as a child and that she avoided it for years. One TikTok user had the ideal summary. Snow White seems to be more despised by Rachel Zegler than the evil queen is. Zegler's strategy was contrasted with Hal Bailey's tactful treatment of The Little Mermaid in another widely shared piece. Even though she gave Zegler her own unique twist, Bailey commented about how much she loved Ariel and the original film. Fans couldn't help but notice the difference, and then there were the memes. Oh, the memes. Zegler's interviews served as material for jokes about how she was more interested in being Snow Woke than Snow White, and videos made fun of her justice over beauty comment. Now, the magic mirror will say, Snow White, you're not the fairest, but you fight for equal pay. When it comes to making fun of public figures, the internet is unstoppable. Her remarks also appear to be offending Disney's core audience, as parents who grew up with the original didn't see the harm in the timeless story of love and kindness. For many, Zegler's version wasn't a modernization. Rather, it was an eraser. Rather than offering something fresh, it felt like she was telling fans that what they loved was incorrect. Even before the picture was released, it was buried in a landslide of negative news, and the more Zegler talked, the worse it appeared to grow. Her statements weren't simply a PR problem for her. They were a disaster for Disney. In addition to being irate, fans actively opposed the film's success, which is difficult for any studio to do, particularly when working with a tale as well known as Snow White. Despite her belief that she was adding a new viewpoint to the character, Rachel Zegler ended up being a target of criticism. Her remarks touched a chord with admirers who felt as though their early years were being disregarded, and the internet made sure she was aware of it. What do you think?